Enough of that bullshit. We're live. Yeah, enough of that. How many countdowns do we need? Really, three too many, two too many. Got Lorne's introduction as well. I mean, I just if I ever, I've got Lorne's introduction, which is fantastic, but that fucking 30-second countdown is really, really, really shit. I know, but I did have another countdown, which is like 5 minutes long, but it was just, it's just like sort of like buffered every 2 seconds, so I got rid of that. Probably something to do with like the I don't know. I don't understand the internet, so it just kept on buffering. So I used Lorne's introduction and then jump into that. But what's up, guys? 2 weeks away. Yeah, no, not 2 weeks away. 1 week away. I was away for 1 week last week. Back this week. Um, yeah, last week. Apologies for last week's. Well, I didn't do a stream. I didn't do a stream last week because there wasn't really much to talk about, really. I don't really want to jump on, do a stream, and there's fuck all to talk about. And I didn't really think there was much going on. I could have. I was sort of contemplating doing like one of those sort of like, um, kind of like a tier list video, but I was looking at what the things that Dan does with Jess does with Dan, with those I think it's called bracket fights, is it? What they've been doing on their on not Jess's channel, Corey's channel, sorry. And I really liked that. I'd never even seen those the bracket fights, which Corey's been doing with Dan. What's up, guys? Dan, what's up? Dan's in the chat anyway. Anthony, DJ, what? Sorry, I've completely ignored the chat. Just started rambling on as soon as I got on live. What's up, Dan? What's up, DJ? What's up, Anthony? Big T as well. What's up, all you guys? Thank you for joining. Yeah, the bracket fights, which Corey and Dan have been doing, I really like that. It's something I wasn't even aware of that, but I really like the format and how it works. So I might just completely rip that off of what they've been doing and just do it myself as well. You know, steal from the best. Isn't that right, Dan? So I'll just, I'll be honest. Yeah, I like it. I like the idea. It's really entertaining. Those bracket fight videos with the adult porn star one. I'm looking forward to the final video. Yeah, I would have liked to have partaken in that, but I don't think my knowledge of like adult film stars it's pretty good, but it's too modern, because there was some deep cuts there. There was some deep cuts going back to like the 80s and 90s, and I'm like, no, I'm more of a, I got fast internet connection in like the mid 2000s. So a lot, I can only really go off, anything sort of past like 2008, 2009. I recognize some of the names from like the 90s, like Jenna Jameson, obviously. I mean, I don't know if she was even in the list, but she probably should have been, because Jenna Jameson is like that name that even like in like the 90s, before we even had the internet in the UK, we all knew who Jenna Jameson. I think, yeah, it was the 90s, wasn't it? Jenna Jameson was a thing in the 90s, surely. I'd like to think so. I think she was anyway. But in the 90s, before like we had this like really fast internet speeds and shit. Yeah, she was one. Stormy Daniels obviously was another big name, and obviously she became famous as well through Tiger Woods and all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't see the whole video, but if Lily Love's not in there, Lily Love, goddess. I mean, Jesus Christ, Lily Love is just the perfect woman and the perfect porn star. But if she's not in there, can I just like throw that name in as a possible, late comer to the late entry? But yeah. So I wouldn't mind doing something along those lines, but with more of like a film element to it, because obviously I'm not going to do a adult porn star one, because my knowledge is just not on the level of Dan's or Corey's probably. But let's just have a look at the chat again. I don't know if Griffin was meant to be joining me, I think, but whether he jumps on, I don't know. He did say that he was interested. I've left the link. If anyone wants to jump on, the link's there. If you want to jump on, just jump on, and we'll just chat shit. I mean, Griffin's there, so Griffin, if you want to jump on, man, just jump on. I mean, I have got like a list. I have got like a kind of. I want to keep it to. I did want to keep it to like a sort of like some sort of format, which is the way I like to do these streams. But we can walk through them and talk through them. Don't feel like you can't come on, man. Just come on. Don says, hey, DJ Griffin's in the chat. Yeah, like I say, DJ again. Stormy didn't make the list. That is surprising. I would have thought she would have been like. I've got a question for you, Dan. Obviously, I want to rep like a home girl, someone from my town, who's I'm sure you're well aware of, because she is like one of the most famous porn stars in the world, and she's from Liverpool, and that is Tanya Tate. Did Tanya Tate make the list? Because Tanya Tate is kind of like Tanya Tate is like, she's one of the those milfy, she's up there with like, who's the blonde girl? Who's the blonde one? Who's Julia someone? Her name escapes me. Anyway, Tanya Tate's up with those. In terms of MILFs, it's like Tanya Tate, and Julia, someone whose name I can't remember the surname. Oh shit, I'm making a fucking prick of myself. Anyway, yeah, Tanya Tate should be in that list, because Tanya Tate, she's an English girl. She's from my hometown. She's dirty as hell, If she's not in there, she should be. Slash home videos in the chat. What's up, man? Chris, what's up, man? I just watched your video. I did comment as well. Yeah, keep doing it. I really like your videos, man, because it's a bit like, I don't want to mean to be derogatory, because my videos are shit. I don't mean yours are shit. What I mean is you're shooting from the hip, because when you're at the level that we're at, there's no need to be kind of like, you're not trying to like please any sort of common denominator. You're not trying to like sort of bow to the algorithms at YouTube. You just, because when you've got like 60 subscribers like we have, you put a video out and you just say what you think, and you don't give a shit about what the light. It's just you're just shooting from the hip. And I think there's real authenticity in your reviews, and I think that's something that I don't review very often. I really need to do more. You could be my incentive to start doing more reviews, but when you get the authenticity, the people who watch, they kind of take that on board, and they know you're not talking shit. So if you're talking shit about a film, they know it's not coming from like a place of like false, it's not coming from like a place of, well, this guy's just doing it to please a certain demographic or a certain audience. If this guy thinks it's shit, he means it's shit, and there's probably some good reason for thinking that. A lot of the issue with a lot of like a bigger YouTubers is, you get to a certain level and they do start bowing down to like the pressures of being a big YouTuber, and like basically saying what people want to hear. So yeah, just keep doing it, man. I mean, I would like to keep doing that. I'm just too fucking lazy half the time. I need the incentive to start churning out like some more reviews, because for whatever reason I find it easier to talk about stuff live than pre-recorded. I get more nerve, and I don't know if this makes any sense to anybody who live stream. Like most of you guys, well, not everyone, but Dan, and obviously Chris, you, and Jonathan's in the chat as well. What's up, man? So Jonathan's in the chat. So there's a few guys in the chat who do live stream and obviously do make, content where it's like pre-recorded. Is it just me? Why do I find it easier to just like go live and just on the fly rather than doing pre-recorded? Because when it's pre-recorded, I really sort of like panic and hesitate and stutter and can't get a video out. But when I do like a live stream, I can just chat shit for hours and I don't like trip over my words. I just talk and talk and talk and talk. Maybe it's because there's a constant stream of like people talking back to me. Maybe that's what it is. And Orc's in the chat as well. What's up, Orc, man? Something like, I can't say cool things because she was gay. Well, it is a bit gay. Elon Musk needs to buy YouTube. When Elon Musk buys YouTube, the world will be sane again. But yeah, I just find it easier to talk, like when there's people, riffing off me. Oh shit, what the fuck was that? But like when I'm like, it's just a camera and I've got to talk and like make it like a sort of video, like a 10-minute video or 5-minute video or 7-minute video, doesn't really matter. If I make one little fuck up, I have to start again, man, because it doesn't really. If the flow gets fucked up in a pre-recorded video, it just looks terrible. On a live stream, you can just fuck up all the time, constantly. It doesn't really matter. No one cares. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, fucking hell, I've rambled on long enough. Fucking hell, man. So let's just go back to the chat again. So who's in the chat? We've got Orc in the chat. We've got Dan in the chat. We've got Jonathan in the chat. Chris is in the chat. /home videos. If you're not subscribed, by the way, if you're not subscribe to Chris /home videos, go give him a subscription, man, because he's fucking safe. Fucking really good lad. And he's on he's one of Piz's patrons as well. So you see him on Piz's Patreon stream. But I suppose most of you guys are subscribed to him. Big T's in the chat as well. Big T, legend. Let's just go right. So where was I going to start this week? Okay, I think I've apologised for missing last week's show. Let's go on to Stranger Things 4. Stranger Things 4 trailer dropped this week. It looks like fucking dog shit. I am not remotely interested in this. It just looks like fucking. It just looks really, really boring. Oh, Griffin's waiting in the backstage. So, okay, I'll bring Griff on now.
You hear me?
He's there. You there?
Yep.
Okay. All right, man.
How you doing?
I put the link out and there's like, I thought, sure Griffin said he was going to be on, but and then I saw you in the chat. I was like, maybe he didn't even want to be on at all. Maybe
I posted in the chat.
Yeah. I know. I just saw you in the chat. I thought maybe he just wants to watch and doesn't want to be on the actual stream. But that's good. It's all good. It's all good. We're sorted now.
All right. Go rant about Stranger Things.
Right. So what I want to do, I want to try and keep it to kind of like a sort of like a typical stream where I address topics. But obviously, I want to get your input. If there's anything you're not too sure on, then we'll just move on. But I mean, Stranger Things. I mean, you've seen Stranger Things?
Nope.
Never. Okay.
I know. I seen it in Dead by Daylight. The Demogorgon was in Dead by Daylight. They just they lost the rights to the Stranger Things content, so you can no longer purchase those characters or the Demogorgon.
I can actually go into that a little bit in terms of like rights issues in Stranger Things without going into Stranger Things too much. Yeah, you often see it. But one thing, and the chat can get involved in this as well, is regarding Stranger Things season 1, they used the Demogorgon as like the bad guy, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah.
So the Demogorgon is property of Dungeons and Dragons. it belongs to Dungeons and Dragons in terms of like that's where it's the origins of Demogorgon come from.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not entirely sure like how do Stranger Things Netflix, aka Duffer Brothers, who wrote the show. I'm not quite sure how they are able to use the Demogorgon name because the Stranger Things 4 drops the trailer for Stranger Things 4 dropped a few days ago, and they're using another Dungeons and Dragons character as like
I'm
their
sure it was a trade off. You know, let this character lapse, and we'll
yeah
trade it for another character.
yeah.
Maybe they kept the same price.
I mean, obviously they must be making money Dungeons and Dragons. They must. But the thing is, what it is it's when Stranger Things season 1, nobody knew anything about this show, so the power of Netflix maybe convinced Dungeons and Dragons, whoever owned, I think it's Hasbro owned Dungeons and Dragons, so it will ultimately be Hasbro who own the rights to the name Demogorgon. But when Stranger Things season 1 dropped, we're talking like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different world then, pre-COVID. Netflix was obviously still a big deal, but
Oh yeah.
Stranger Things was like an unknown entity at that point. So I'm just wondering, like, to get them on board to use the name Demogorgon, like they must have been like spending some money to get them on board. And I'm just wondering, like, going into season 4 now, they're using another D&D character called Vecna. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like the biggest expert on Dungeons and Dragons, but this is like another D&D character. I would I would hazard the guess to say they're spending probably slightly more money this time to get this name than Demogorgon because if they're going to want to use another name of a D&D character, they're going to have to probably spend some serious money because I can't imagine that like D&D, Hasbro, whoever owns the rights, are just going to go, oh yeah, you can have this name for like
Mm-hmm.
$100,000. Surely they're going to be saying no, it's just going to be a few million. But I mean, besides the point, Stranger Things 4 looks like complete dog shit to me. I mean, I know you haven't seen the show, but I think people in the chat would I'm not saying everybody in the chat would be on my sort of level of saying, but season 1 was great. Season 2 was good. Season 3 was average, and season 4 is looking it's not
So
looking great.
I haven't seen the teaser, but so why do you think it looks like shit compared to the previous seasons?
Um, it's probably not okay. I'm not. That's probably not. I probably come across it the wrong way.
It just doesn't look.
Every season 1 grabbed me just on the concept. It
Mm,
was the concept grabbed me. The music didn't pull me in, but the
mm-hmm.
concept grabbed me. Season 2, I was already sold on the show and the music in the trailers for the first 3 seasons were always superb, and the music combined with the way they put the trailers together really sold me on it. And season 3, even though I didn't love season 3, the way they combine the music with the way they put the trailers together, and the way in trailers they add stuff that is never even actually in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure they did it with Stranger Things season 3, but the way they combined it, I was on board. And when it's a TV show, which is they drop it in one day, you just binge watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of if you're hyped by the trailer, if the show drops and they drop all like 8 episodes in one day, you'll just binge watch the whole thing because there's nothing better to do. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if Stranger Things 3 had been a weekly show, I'm not entirely sure I would have made it through the entire season. if that makes sense. Because if something's dropping weekly, and if by episode 3 you're not totally on board, by the time episode 4 rolls round the following week, you might, well, I've got something better to do. But if it drops on all in one go, well, I might as well just watch the next episode. I'm sat in bed, what else am I going to do? I'll watch the next episode. It wasn't great, but I'll just keep on watching. And I think that was one of the issues. That was one of the things I wanted to raise about Netflix. Really, I think I've raised this before in a previous stream, but I'd never actually talked to anyone about it. I was talking, into the internet and like bouncing off the comments. But in terms of like, do you have you got Netflix, Griff?
No.
Do you have any streaming services at all?
No. I do video on demand.
Yeah. But in terms of like, when it comes to like streamers, like just imagine like, for instance, Netflix or Amazon Prime, or
I did have Amazon Prime for a long time.
In terms of like these just like streaming services, are you of the opinion that it's better to have weekly episodic episodes, or would you prefer like just drop in every single episode in one go? Or do you think it's a kind of combination of both?
I would prefer it to be kind of bi-weekly, just to keep the interest. I feel like just throwing it all down at once is just a little much.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
I get what you're saying. The thing is,
there's a thing about kind of being hyped and excited, like, oh, I can't wait for episode 3. How's that going to turn out? Or it's just like, okay, mindlessly, let's just go.
You see,
quickly. Let's get to it quickly. I get it that we're in the age of we want everything now. I just don't think people have the patience anymore to wait for anything.
That's the thing that the point I'm trying to make as well is if you look at something like Game of Thrones, which was obviously a weekly thing, the build up to the final episode was like kind of like it was getting shown in bars and pubs and around the world. They were having Game of Thrones nights.
Yeah.
For the final episode, and the final episode may have been a bit shit, but you for a show that's gains like a massive amount of attention, the weekly episodic sort of build up, I think it plays. It's better for that. In terms of like, say, for like Game of Thrones, Sky. I mean, I don't know who showed it in America. In the UK, it was Sky Atlantic.
HBO.
Right. Okay. So
I think.
No,
HBO. Wait. Was it AMC? I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I think it was HBO. I think it was HBO. But in terms
I'm gonna get staked for that.
I think it was HBO. But in terms of like the build up to that show, like over the 5-6 years, and then the build up to the final few episodes, because it wasn't just dropped in one day, it's become far bigger than it would have ever been as a one-day drop TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe I'm contradicting myself by saying that Stranger Things has had that same effect, even though they do that one-day drop. So maybe I'm contradicting myself, but Stranger Things is going the way of that. With like they're dropping. I think they're like dropping 4 episodes in May, and they're going to wait a month and drop like maybe another 4 or 5 episodes in July. So they're sort of, I think Netflix maybe is starting to go the route of, maybe start to
keep people subscribe longer.
Yeah, because I've never really understood that. That's the whole thing with subscription TV. I can understand if you've got a TV show which is like nobody gives a shit about, nobody's really talking about. It makes sense to just drop that show onto streaming, where someone can just watch the entire show in like 6 hours. But if you've got a show where you're spending like hundreds of millions of dollars on,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really the logic of just dropping it in one day, because the whole. I mean, we all know what the internet is like now, where it's like you have, especially especially if your show is deep rooted in like mystery and theories of what's going to happen. Like it. If you can feed off the internet in a way, so if you drop one episode one week, and then you let the internet just go wild on theories and like what they think's going to happen, and then you drop a next episode, and you keep feeding the fans with little hint tidbits of like what's going to happen next.
Yeah,
And
get
by
them hyped up. Get people
exactly
hyped up.
exactly so by episode, like if you've got like an 8 episode 9 episode show, by week 8 week 9, you've got the hype up to like next level, which I just think, to me, if I was running a streaming service, that's how I would do things, based on the level of. If I've put a fucking shitload of money into a TV show, I just don't think I'd just drop it in one. But I don't think I'd drop it in one day and go, there you go. Because at the end of the day, Stranger Things season 1, I love season 1 of Stranger Things. I actually, don't get me wrong, I did like the idea. I did binge watch Stranger Things season 1. I did watch it in one day, but I missed the whole idea of like going online and going into to forums, going into Reddit groups and Facebook groups, and like talking about the show and like what I think will happen next, because you can't do that, because if you don't watch the entire show in one day, if you go online, it's spoiled for you, because all the spoilers are there, because people are going to be talking about the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're only 4 episodes in and it's on day of release,
Kills
it's
the
already
buzz.
exactly, yeah, it kills the buzz, exactly. So
I think like with like hype, that was like the best part of It Chapter 2 was everyone getting hyped for it.
yeah,
And then
I
once it
mean,
came out, nobody
yeah,
talks about that. I'm maybe
well,
put at the stake for to even mention it, but
it
I was
it
just trying
chapter
to, like that had like a big build up,
it
whereas,
chapter yeah, it
whereas
chapter 2
like
wasn't.
because it Chapter 1 was pretty well liked amongst most of the horror community, on like, the Halloween, and the latest Halloween movie was pretty divisive even when it first came out.
Yeah,
Like
I
hell,
mean,
even Lawrence said the It Chapter 1 was okay.
I I I mean, I loved it chapter 1, because I mean, I've said this in a previous stream, but see, I was born in 76, so it chapter 1, they're 13 in 89. So
Hmm.
it's basically me, It's like
Yeah,
I was 13. So it's all the bikes and the fashions and the music. That was just me. Okay, I'm living in a different country, but it it translated really well to me. And obviously, the 26, is it 20, was it 2016? Was it
the
2017?
17, and then
27, yeah.
2019.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, it just chapter 2 just didn't do it for me. Too many just needless jump scares, and just I wasn't interested in the losers as adults.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job of keeping the mystery. It was way too,
No,
like it was too segmented with each of the characters going off on their own. There wasn't enough there wasn't enough conversations of them rebuilding their friendship. It was kind of just like, "Oh, hey, okay, we got to do this. Let's all go to these random areas. Let's split up."
yeah, yeah,
I couldn't believe that. That's when that stupid ass nun movie. I'm gonna bitch about that, but they did that stupid line of "Let's split up." And I'm like, no way! And I was so happy. The whole theater groaned.
Are we talking
Everybody
about
in the every audience member groaned at that. I'm like,
uh,
Jesus,
are we
what
talking
the
about
hell?
we said the Nun? Are we talking about the Conjuring Universe Nun?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've not seen it. I've not
Well,
seen it.
there's there at towards the end of the movie. they're all like, all the characters have been tormented, just like in It Chapter 2. They've all separated, been tormented through the whole movie. At the very end, when they're about ready to battle the nun, the freaking priest goes, "Hey, let's split up." I'm like, okay, this hackney writing. What the? This is fuck this.
Just jump into the chat briefly. Dan says Stranger Things. Dan says Stranger Things is a fun enough nostalgia bomb, but those kids are getting so old they need to end it soon. Yeah, I mean, they are getting like very, very tall now. I think
it's gonna lose its. The older they get, the charm is gonna go away.
I mean, they're like 18 now, so like Mike's probably going to be like 6'4" by the time this finishes. So yeah, they need to move things on. Anthony says, always thought Stranger Things was decent but overhyped.
That's the thing, you can do like, we see this time and time again, like with like It Chapter 1 and such. Like, you can like hit on that nostalgia nerve and that kind of charm of having kids, but once you just start having adults, if you don't
Yeah,
have the good writing behind it, it's just gonna sink. It's not all gonna float up here.
yeah.
You gotta have strong writing. And I was actually surprised. Speaking of, Doctor Sleep, actually, I thought was, for the first half, I thought it was pretty strong with the character. Even though it was very much a repeat, I still thought it was a pretty decently handled.
Yeah, definitely. Big T, can't wait for season 4. So we have got some love for Stranger Things season 4 in the chat. Dan says the story is not that original. I think he's referring to Stranger Things. Still have we got? I think I've got a new subscriber, Bunny Army 101. I've never Bunny. Welcome to the chat, man. I don't think I've seen you on board before. I'm pretty bummed too. It just looks less than the other seasons. Not to say it won't be good though, just different. And Chris says I've liked every scene so far. Personally, they are getting old though. That 2020 delay hurt them, I think. Yeah, definitely. And Dr. CC Death, that's Dr. CC Death, I forget your first name. I know you're Sam's husband. Chris 6'11", Chris. The 6'11", the tallest person who will ever be in my comment section. Sam posted on Twitter the other day a picture of her and Chris. Chris has got a mask on. It could be Kane or friggin' giant Great Carly. It's fucking ridiculous how tall he is. For somebody who's 5'9", that's just like ridiculous. Big T says, Dan, money side, I think it'd be worse thing for those two. I think they're sort of wrestling. I'm jumping into comments when they've gone into sort of wrestling. I'm like, I'm not quite sure what's going on.
Yeah, they're getting the wrestling.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from Stranger Things, let's get into. We all use Twitter. Elon Musk to buy Twitter for $43 billion.
He bought it or he didn't?
No. Will it happen, or will they stop it? I mean, I want him to buy it. I like Elon Musk. I think he's he just trolls the internet all the time. I think he's a fucking dude. And I think the board are just a bunch of fucking pricks who like, you can't give me, what is their possible reasoning for not selling? Like the board as far as I'm aware, the board are meant to take on to
get rid of that echo chamber. We gotta keep the echo chamber.
Yeah, gotta keep that left wing echo chamber. Most of the
board. It's not even left echo chamber. It's like extreme.
Yeah, it's extreme left. It's extreme left. It's not left. It's extreme left.
You can't be just
like
you can't be just liberal. You gotta be far. We're getting pretty political now, but
well,
that's what it is. That's what it is. It's just real. It's just like if you're if you don't have far enough ideology, it's like you're never gonna like you're gonna keep trying to impress others, but it's just never. It's never enough. You shouldn't strive to,
I mean,
Your life should not be, your value of your life should not be worth other people's opinion.
no,
You should not let other people dictate how you should think and live.
I've always considered myself centrist. I take some ideas from the left and some ideas from the right and try and make it what it is. But according to Twitter, I'm a far right extremist because I look at Twitter and it's like, well, that's what I must be because I just look at the insanity of Twitter and I just think, oh my god.
Well,
And
now that we said all that, we're gonna get canceled. So it was nice
I
knowing you.
mean, Twitter's like a fucking. It's just like heroin. It's bad for you, but you still do it. You still go on.
That's one way to describe it.
We've got a few more people in the chat now. I think Corey's jumped on board actually.
But it's kind of interesting. Whereas like Facebook's kind of gone the opposite. It's going more far right.
Has. Yeah, well,
So we got to call it spade a spade. Facebook's going further right, and then Twitter's going like extreme left. It's like,
I mean, even Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey, he's not on the board of directors. He's even coming out and criticising Twitter. Well, why didn't he fucking say something when he was on the board? Now he's just
kind of. It's just like, well, it's like, I heard some kind of quote. It's like, basically, we're not in conflict, and we're trying to come up with conflicts. Like there's not like a whole like unified world. Like our ideology is kind of gotten separated. We've got to go more extreme than the other. That's what I've been noticing.
Right, let me just jump back in because a lot of people have jumped on board in the last couple.
I probably shouldn't be speaking about this.
Don't worry, man. I don't give a fuck. No one's going to cancel my channel with like 65 subscribers.
So,
Jay, no, I just want to jump. I just want to mention a quick because I think Corey's
in the house.
I'm just trying to keep up with the chat.
The whole the duo S'mores and Doors is in the chat.
Sean is on board. Nice to see you, Sean. Jamie's on board. Corey's on board. Yeah, it's a great thing to say and try to keep up with the chat. It's nice to say that if you have to just say no one's talking. So yeah, everyone in the chat, welcome on board.
We start getting more political. We get more followers. More viewers.
So basically, I think what we can say from that is I think Twitter will be better with Elon Musk in charge. We'll move on from Twitter anyway.
So what's some newer movies, more recent stuff you've been watching?
Okay, you know what? That's you've read my mind there, Griff, because I actually was going to mention a few movies I've actually watched recently, but maybe not so much newer movies.
Like past like 6 years or so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I see. I've got my IMDb watch list up because after watching,
so we could go like 10 because the past 2 years has just been a wash.
Yeah. Fuck all happened in 2 years. So let me just go onto my rate. After watching X, have you seen X?
I have not seen X yet.
Yeah, so I kind of did a bit of watched a few Ty West films, and then I kind of watched a few the Adam Wingard film. Some of the newer directors of the 2010s who had never really watched, because for some reason I don't know why I hadn't watched these films, but so I watched. I think and the guy who's Dr. Sleep. Oh my God, what's his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch?
No,
the Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan. So I watched this. So this is what I want to mention. It's 2011 film Absentia, which I don't know if you've seen.
I haven't seen that one
yet. It's I think it was his debut. It's like shot for $60,000. So good, such a good film, so good. I mean, it's like very, very low budget, and the acting isn't the best. But the reason I wanted to bring it up, regardless of whether you were here tonight or anywhere, regardless, I was going to talk about it anyway, because it's just a film. When you watch a film, and it kind of like it sticks with you. and you're thinking about it, for a few days afterwards.
Yeah.
Just even though it was such a low budget film, it's got the way of they filmed it in I think it's Pasadena in LA, which is obviously not a million miles from Halloween, where they filmed Halloween.
Mhm.
But it obviously with Halloween they filmed at a certain time. It was constantly overcast, and I think I always associate LA with just being sunny all the time. Always like constant sunshine.
Well, around when Halloween was made, it was full of smog.
Yeah, but the way it's being filmed, it's basically the premise is there's a tunnel in a neighborhood. You go through the tunnel, and it's kind of like a link to like another world, almost like up the upside down of Stranger Things, where something comes out, but it's not. It's only really hinted at until sort of like the last sort of like act. But it's the way they film it, where this tunnel and this street. It's like a residential street, but it's this perpetual sort of like scorching hot sun, because LA is obviously always, a lot of the time it's just like clear sky, scorching hot, and like 90-degree heat. They probably filmed it in the middle of summer, but it's the way it's being filmed. It's kind of like the nighttime scenes where they show the tunnel.
Mhm.
It's not really scary. There's something about the way it's filmed in date. Maybe it's the way Mike Flanagan films, but it's
I think it's
really
the way he
something.
films. Because
There's
what was it?
something really
Ouija 2, or the prequel,
which I've not seen yet, and I need to
which was
see.
mostly filmed outside. Well, there was a good amount of it filmed outside. And still had a
Yeah,
nice creepy atmosphere. That movie
yeah.
was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. Did you see Oculus?
I need to see
Oh,
Oculus
that's
as
the one you
well.
need to see. That
I'm
one
I'm
was
working my way through it because
that was
yeah.
I
I'm so
love that
far behind.
film.
Yeah, I'm so far behind on 2010s horror films
Mhm.
that I'm trying to just slowly work my way through. But in terms of like with this Absentia, it's kind of like the way LA in daylight with this like piercing like sun and just like brightness. Now, I'll give Mike Flanagan props. It is partly down to like the low budget effects and the fact that he's a good director, but
Mhm.
it's also I can't just I've got to put down maybe to like Los Angeles as well as just as a setting, because if you've seen like Mulholland Drive, the scene in the diner, which is like it's broad daylight in Los Angeles, and it sets up like but
Yeah.
it just sets up this scene. It's like this is going to be really terrifying, and he manages to do that in a broad daylight in the middle of LA, and it's that same sort of like bright, you know,
City of Angels.
yeah, it's something. There's something about that there's something about LA in I don't know what it is,
Well,
but
one the best horror film shot in the daytime definitely is still the original 1970s Wicker Man.
yeah,
I only want to get because I know someone's going to do not the bees and shit, but genuinely that film is
yeah,
unsettling, and
yeah.
that guy, that actor, he didn't really do anything, did he? After that, did he? Like, was he in anything else? Like, was he in like
Uh,
a
yeah,
BBC or something?
he was in Equalizer. Have you ever seen
Oh, he's an
Equalizer?
Equalizer. Okay.
He was an English cop in America.
Mm.
Yeah, he did a lot of British TV work,
Okay, that's
but
good. At least he kept working.
he was a well-renowned actor in the UK. Obviously, in terms of like America, The Equalizer was probably about it, but
Yeah,
he was.
was no, that I'm thinking Equalizer was
Oh,
yeah.
not the Denzel Washington one.
No, no, no.
No,
I know what you're talking about, but I'm thinking of was it Edge of Darkness that had the guy who played Muldoon in Jurassic Park, the big game hunter.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not him. I don't know what he did, but yeah,
That's what he
Edward.
did before
Right.
Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he died of cancer, that actor.
Yeah. I think he died a few years ago. And
Yeah.
Edward Woodward died a good
Yeah.
few years ago. But Edward Woodward was he was
He would have
I
been a
used to,
great. I think he would have had a great career. That guy had
I,
great screen presence. Like in
I
Jurassic
love
Park, like
he
he's
was he was very good.
like honestly,
He
like everyone always goes to Jeff Goldblum because of his weird, quirky,
yeah
eccentricities, whereas that guy was like genuinely like capture the screen.
yeah and Edward and
Or
Jeff Goldblum
he commanded the screen, I should say.
yeah and Jeff Goldblum like knew there was something wasn't gonna work out well, but this guy basically told him. You know,
Yeah.
in the one scene where he's talking, I think he's talking about I think he's talking about the Raptors, and
Yeah.
he basically says this is just going to go tits up. It's just going to go
Yeah.
completely fucking wrong, and he knew, and yeah, he paid the price.
Why didn't we
Paid
put locking mechanisms on the
the-
doors?
yeah, yeah.
I've seen that movie a few times.
Oh, I love Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park's just the fucking.
Richard Attenborough was great, of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, Richard Attenborough, you know, legend, and he's a lord. He's a lord of
Lord.
England. He was Lord of Attenborough, but his brother is more famous than him, arguably.
Yeah.
David Attenborough. David Attenborough is like the just when
Oh yeah.
When he dies, Britain will go into like mourning. You know that'll be
Did you
like
really see any of Richard's films that he directed?
not really. I'm not. He's a bit before my time, to be honest with you. I mean,
I know he did a lot. He did a lot more like biopics, like he did Gandhi and
yeah,
Chaplin,
yeah. Oh, I've not. Yeah,
Shadowlands. But
yeah. It's
he did Magic.
oh, with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
Oh, I've seen that was a long
early
time ago.
creepy puppet.
Yeah, the Magic's a great film.
Yeah,
I didn't know Rich Attenborough directed that.
yeah, that was him.
But I suppose I watched that when I was a kid, and you don't really pay any attention. When you watch films as a kid, you just watch the film. You don't know who directed, you don't know who the star is half the time. You know, it's like, but I mean, I had no idea he directed that.
Yeah,
But yeah, Richard Attenborough, legend. You know,
he
big.
also he also starred in a film with he starred in one of the last John Wayne films, Brannigan. Did you ever see that?
No, I've not seen that.
Yeah, that was
I'm not a fan of westerns, to be honest.
no,
To be
it's
fair.
not Western. It's
Oh, sorry.
John Wayne's he's a contemporary police officer and he's chasing after this Chicago gangster who's he's gone to Britain, London to hide out and he's forming like a Ponzi scheme and he's working with these British criminals and John Wayne goes over to London and he teams up with Richard Attenborough. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon or something like that before all that happened. It was like mid-70s. It's a decent flick. It's got quite a few actors that were in Star Wars. That were like
Oh,
like it's got like a couple of the guys who played the I always love watching British movies and like I see like a guy who was like an imperial officer in a Star Wars movie.
yeah,
It's like, "Oh, hey."
yeah.
Like one two one that completely threw me for a loop. Both these actors are not British, but they live in Britain. Um, and Octopussy, yes, I'm bringing up Octopussy, James Bond. Uh, they go to the west side of Germany, where the Americans have been set up. And for the American actors, they have the guy who played the general in Empire Strikes Back, and then the guy that gets choked by Darth
Mm.
Vader in the original Star Wars. He's also there too. I never recognized him because he wasn't doing like a British kind of an accent. I'm like, what the
There,
fuck?
there is
Never
one of
noticed
the
that. I've seen that movie for like over 30 years now, and I've never those that's the same guy.
one of the guys in Empire Strikes Back who gets choked. I don't know if it could be the same one you're referring to. But he's actually an English actor. He's in Empire Strikes Back. He does get killed by Darth Vader.
Yeah,
He a few years later he went on to appear in like one of our like children's TV shows called Grange Hill, which is like it's set in like in a high school in England. And he plays like a real bastard of a teacher. And it was like years later when I was watching Empire Strikes Back again, I was like,
It's like,
fucking hell, that's like, it's like when you see an actor for like years later. I mean, he was in a show I watched 5 years later,
I know
but
it's fun to see. It's fun to notice that, especially like watching like the. Also, it's kind of funny. Like a lot of the actors who starred in the Bond movies actually were in like the Hammer horror films. Like they would
yeah,
have like there'd be like kind of bit parts and stuff. It was always kind of fun. Like Jeffrey Keane, who was
yeah,
the prime minister in a lot of the Bond movies, who's always like really stiff
yeah,
upper lipped,
yeah.
politician, and he was in Taste the Blood of Dracula.
It's funny like when you watch it, and I think this is quite similar to like America as well. When you watch like old British movies from like the 40s and 50s, they just talk in a way that nobody talks like anymore.
Yeah,
And I think it's similar in America. When you watch old American movies, like nobody talks like that anymore. If you don't, do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
they
they
talk in this really,
much
it's
more highbrow, posh.
yeah, yeah. Even in the American films, they're talking in like in an American accent, but it's not an American accent I recognize in modern movies. It's very quick and sort of clipped, and it is almost kind of like just basically American English.
I'm really curious how they sound because I know over there that like you guys have the sped up, like it's 25 frames instead of 24. I'm
Right.
really curious. They must sound like super high pitched.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
I know there's a movie with Hugh Grant that came out and over here and it was released with the British audio, the English audio, and people were like I c- I already have trouble understanding Hugh Grant, but when he's like speaking like a chipmunk, it's even worse.
how 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 could anyone struggle understanding Hugh Grant talking? Because
Well, it was just it
he
was
talks
just
the he talks the Queen's English. It's not like he's talking in like
well
the sort of
like like well like a Michael Caine, yeah.
oh no. Michael Caine is Cockney. Hugh
Yeah.
Grant is it.
That's the one you can't probably it'd be pretty funny to hear him and like get Carter and
The,
stuff.
I'd say yeah. Well, yeah. The only time Hugh Grant talks like Michael Caine is in The Gentleman. Have you seen The Gentleman?
No, I've not seen a gentleman yet.
Right. Yeah.
I did see Wrath of Man. I did see Wrath of Man.
I've not. Yeah. I've not seen Method Man. That's the Jason Statham. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Jason
it's
Statham.
got one of the four horsemen of terrible acting, Josh Hartnett.
Yeah. Jason Statham is kind of like the just like if you do you want someone to play an Englishman in a movie in America, just get Jason Statham. It's just like I like Jason Statham. He seems like a like down to earth sort of guy, But he's not. I like it. I think it was in the Transformer, one of his first films in
The
America.
Transporter?
Wait, Transporter, not Transformer. That's fucking.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of the Transporters when they were coming
Yeah,
out.
but I seem to remember, like in the very first Transporter, he was kind of like almost starstruck, trying to be American, and then halfway through
Yeah.
thought, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna go back. I'm just gonna."
Yeah, he was talking low and kind
Uh,
of quiet, and then
you
eventually
can't.
gets
He
pissed off
starts,
and he
yeah,
goes
and
full.
he goes, "Oh fucking hell! I'm just gonna fucking talk like no, I'm gonna talk like Jason Statham, fucking mate. I think I'm gonna talk like I'm in Stock and Two Smoking fucking barrels, mate." Do you know what I mean? It's like. It's just like
Oh.
he just gave, and ever since then he's just played the same. He's played the same sort of character ever since. But
Well, like he'll like do like a movie like Homefront or something. He'll do the
oh yeah, yeah. That was you know what? Is that who's the other main
James
lead?
James Franco was the bad guy in
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
I don't know who the girl was, who the actress. I do know Clancy Brown was in that.
Right. James Franco ultimately ended up being a bad guy a little bit, didn't he? Let me just go back. Let me just go back to the
Uh,
chat. Let me just go back to the chat briefly. We've totally missed the chat for a minute.
I
Let's see. Let's just see who's talking. I'll just go back to this. Um, Oh my god, I'm so far fucking behind the chat.
So, Jamie just brought up Ghost of Mars. Apparently, originally, Statham was going to be Ice. He was going to play the Ice Cube role, and then
Right.
Ice Cube signed on, and they're like, "Well, we'll cast him in the bigger role and get a little extra money because Ice Cube was huge."
Ice Cube was massive star in 2001.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghost of Mars it is what it is. It's not. It's not. It's John Carpenter's best film of the 2000s, probably. That's not saying much.
It's like it's got one competition. It's got okay. Like if you want to count his two, if you want to count his two Masters of Horror, it's got three other competing competition. They don't have much competition.
We've got the Ward. That was.
Then you got the what is it? Pro-life and cigarette burns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cigarette burns. Yeah.
Oh God. Jason Statham would have been really great in Vampires. He should have been the James Woods role.
Just talk.
Oh, these fucking vampires! Fucking hell! Fucking blood sucking cocksucker! He would have been great.
I'm a bit far behind with the chat. We're just briefly mentioning the Johnny Depp Amber Heard. So Amber Heard looks like a fucking bitch. I'm sorry. She looks like one evil twat. She does. I'm sorry. She looks evil as fuck when she walks into court. She looks evil.
The first movie I really ever saw with her was, of course, she was in. I know the chat was mentioning Drive Angry.
All the boys love Mandy Lane. All the boys love Mandy Lane.
I didn't see that. I saw her in the Kevin Costner movie, 3 Days to Kill.
I mean, she's hot as fucking hell. I won't deny it. But
I don't know if I let her shit in my bed though.
No, I wouldn't do that. But they always. But when she, I'm not saying Johnny Depp's like innocent in whatever he's done, but she walks in and she's got this look of like.
So it's dog shit. Okay, that makes more sense. That's a little less fucked up, but still fucked up.
Yeah, Sean says all the stuff coming out the past few days definitely hasn't surprised me. Certainly not me.
I'm just kind of like I get it. I still think it's shitty that they fired him and kept her for Aquaman, whereas they fired him for Fantastic Beasts, which I honestly couldn't give a shit about Fantastic Beasts.
I think she's been fired, hasn't she, from Aquaman?
Has she?
Yeah, I don't think she's coming back. I'm pretty sure. I think they fired her. Yeah, they wouldn't be getting involved with her now. There's too much
heat.
Way too much. I mean, they are at the end. Ultimately, they are a family. They say they're family friendly. So the idea of one of their female leads has been doing what she's allegedly been doing. No, I'm pretty sure they did say no. We've cut all ties with her. But
I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't really been following. I honestly couldn't, like, personally, I don't care about either one of them. Like, Depp, yeah, he's been good in the past, but he was slumming it, just, taking it easy, let me just be like the last decent movie he did was Black Mass. Everything else is just like, he did that shit like Mordecai, The Lone Ranger.
Even in Black Mass, I like Black Mass, but even there, I thought he was like overacting a little bit.
Yeah.
And he looked so strange in that film. It's like the whole makeup.
Yeah, it's like he's Dark Shadows, Alice in Wonderland. Ugh.
Watching him in court, like testifying, like I've seen him in interviews thinking, oh, he's just in character still. And in court, maybe that's him. But it's almost like he's playing a character, even in court. Like when he's on testifying, it's just, the way he talks. It almost feels like he's in character and not being himself. But maybe that's a way of getting. Maybe that's the best way to be. If you're in court and you're trying to.
I see. Dan. I definitely think he's gonna be doing nothing but you know, Mel Gibson type, direct to video, and occasionally he'll be in a big budget film.
Yeah,
But he's
I
mostly gonna be
mean,
doing direct to streaming or Redbox.
but when you've got the money he's got, like, why would you even bother? I don't know. I mean, when I would, maybe I would just consider just retiring early, but I suppose the ego of these people is just, I mean, where was it the story he was spending like $10,000 a month on wine? It was
Yeah.
something ridiculous. What was he buying? Lots and lots of cheap wine, or just a few bottles of really, really
No, he was
expensive wine?
buying expensive wine. There was a thing where
Uh,
like they're like, "Oh, you're buying this much wine for this much money." He's like, "Oh no, it was far more money than that." It's
yeah.
like, "Oh god." I don't know.
Sort of.
I was just getting sick and tired of him, like especially him and his Tim Burton and the Mordecai and stuff like that. Like, I think he's great and stuff like I loved him in like stuff like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and I thought he was
Yeah,
good
yeah,
and stuff like that. But then but even back then he did shit like The Astronaut's Wife, which was
yeah,
intolerable. That film was
yeah.
horrible.
And what's that other? He did a movie, another really, really long film in like the late 90s, which name escapes me, and it's regarded as a decent film, but I never liked it, and I cannot remember the life of me. It was like a really, really long film, and it was like, oh, fuck's sake, a little bit pretentious. So like around the late 90s, early two
It was
thousands.
90s, early 2000s.
I think so. Yeah, I can't remember. The name escapes me. It wasn't The Astronaut's Wife. It was something similar. I'll just go on IMDb. The name will.
Yeah, yeah. The Astronaut's Wife. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, early Charlize Theron, but still. Ugh.
Oh yeah, Charlie's Film
Ugh.
now. Charlie's Film with a shaved head is like fucking great. You know, it
Yeah,
is.
that movie, man. Ugh.
You know what? You know what film fucking pisses me off?
What?
Which you might love it. Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, really?
I don't like that film. I don't know what it is. I just
You're
don't
gonna get
like that film.
All the Tom Hardy
Tom
fans are
Hardy
gonna
just
come after you.
he just grunts in that film. He just grunts. He doesn't even speak. He just goes.
That's what he
I
did. That's
saw,
what he did in that movie. Was it Legends, where he was playing one of was it the Craze or whatever?
oh yeah, the crazy. I like that film. I think that's a great film.
That's what he was doing mostly in that.
Well, as one of them because he plays both brothers. So in one of the characters is kind of more talkative and outgoing, and the other one's a little bit more, you know. But I like Legend. I think it's a good film. Um, oh, The Ninth Gate. That was the film.
Oh, the Ninth Gate. That was the one.
That was the film I was talking about, which is just like it's I didn't like it. Overly long and just yeah, I think it's yeah. I didn't get it. Did not get it at all. Anyway, yeah.
That was actually
Anyway,
based on a Spanish
yeah.
novel, or I believe it was Spanish.
I think it was. I think you're right. I think it was Spanish.
I'm
Jess
probably
is in
wrong, but
the
anyways, it was foreign.
I think just mentioned Jess is in the chat, which I'm not. Well, I didn't mention
Uh-oh.
Jess before. Ben's in the chat with. I don't know if I mentioned Ben. I don't think I have. Um, let's just go a little bit. No, try and go with the most recent chat. See what people are saying.
I actually,
Uh,
I seen the
Sean saying Ed Wood shout out.
Jamie
Yeah.
mentioned the Nick of Time. I like that. There's one scene I liked in that movie a lot, and that was when like Christopher Walken, like he like grabs Johnny Depp. He's like, "You gotta fuck with me."
I've not seen Nick of Time. I need to see that.
It's a standard, thriller.
Yeah. From Hell
Very,
as
like
well. From Hell.
I was not a big fan From Hell.
No, it's. I mean, Jack the Ripper films are the 10 a penny. There's a lot of them, and I mean, I still think that the best Jack the Ripper movie is Michael Caine's TV movie from '88.
Hmm.
I just love that. I think that's just so fucking good. Um, it's. I
His
mean,
be no his best Jack the Ripper was Dressed to Kill.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've covered most of the chat now. So let's see what else was going to talk about.
Oh, we're talking about new movies. We haven't really discussed.
Yeah, new movies. Well, newer movies because I've not watched. I mean, you haven't seen X, so that is like that's the newest movie I've seen. Probably, well, definitely the newest movie I've seen. I watched. So I've been trying to like go back through like a lot, some like these newer directors. So Before I Wake, which is from 2017.
Oh,
which is
that was Netflix, right?
That's Flanagan. That's Flanagan. Mike Flanagan.
Was that Netflix?
I think it may be. I can't remember. I know that Death Note is Netflix, which is.
Oh, you watched that, huh? What'd you think of that one?
Death Note, it was okay. I know it's based on an anime, like comic book. I mean, I just got that with the whole Kira and like the guy who's the cop. But he's not a cop. He's kind of like this sort of crazy, you know, he's like a special ops sort of guy who's like constantly, you know, eating candy and stuff. And he's like, that kind of annoyed me a little bit. I didn't really like Tate to his character that much, but it was okay. I mean, that was. It is what it is. It was a little bit like Final Destination with some of the kills, you know, like the decapitation. But yeah, I didn't mind it. Before I Wake, which it was after Mike Flanagan movie, you know, with the kid who like he dreams.
That one was decent.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I mean, I probably should have seen the twist coming when he said the canker man at the beginning of the film. You know, referring to like, you know, the mother's cancer. Which I didn't even get onto at first. I was like, oh fucking hell, I was slowing the uptake. But yeah, I like that. I mean, I did like that film. I'm trying to think what else fucking seen. I should really watch. I mean, I've watched a lot more older stuff as well, but
yeah, I've been trying to catch up, watching newer stuff.
Yeah,
I watched. What else have you seen?
Well, I was going to say I watched the I think is it Ty West. So after watching X, I was going back into Ty West's. Back because I wasn't really aware of him as a director too much, and so I watched The Sacraments in 2013, which was pretty good. It's I don't know if have you seen The Sacraments?
No, I've only seen I've seen In the Valley of Violence, and I've seen the
Innkeepers.
No, the other.
Okay.
One, what's the one before that? The Devil's
House. They're the two I've not seen. So I've seen the Innkeepers, which was.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I've seen the two you haven't seen, and you've seen the three I haven't seen. So there you go. That's how the cookie crumbles.
The Sacraments is kind of like it's almost like a found footage film, but it's not quite a found footage film because it feels like a found footage film, but then there's parts where it's not because there's clearly nobody filming it, and it is the actual cameraman. But it's heavily based on. Well, from what I can take from it, it's have you ever read the Jonestown Massacre in the 70s? Where it's I think it's basically riffing on that. It's like a cult, and you know, it's Vice. You know Vice. Vice, the real life sort of like news organization. It's basically they obviously gave their recommendation to use their name because it's meant to be like a Vice film crew, you know, recording, and they go to like South or Central America to look into this sort of like cult, and obviously on the surface everything seems okay, and then as time goes on it all goes tits up and things start going wrong. So yeah, it was good. It was and The Innkeepers, which was like 2011. It's just I think it's like just like this. It's a hotel which is closing down in a couple of days. I think it's set in New Orleans, but the whole film takes place in this one setting, and it's not particularly scary, and it's quite like it's very much PG-13, but it's quite enjoyable actually. It's quite, it's like there's an innocence to it, but it's a nice sort of innocence. It doesn't feel like it's too childlike, but I quite enjoyed that. I mean,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, I thought House of the Devil was okay.
oh, I
The
loved
ending
House of the Devil. Yeah, I think that was really good.
and in the Valley of Violence, that was all right for a Western. Ethan Hawke versus John Travolta and a bunch of other Ty West regulars show up in that.
Oh,
Uh, that was a decent flick. It's a Western, but it has Ty West, the violence, the boots, so it's a little extra violent than most
yeah,
American westerns. So it was okay. It's definitely one of the best John Travolta roles in the past like 15, 20 years.
yeah. Well, there's not much that. I mean, what's that saying though? Really?
Well, at least he brought it.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Um,
I did you ever see that movie Life on the Line where
no.
he's a line worker working the electrical lines? Oh,
There's a there's,
that
there's a
movie's
lot.
like that movie came out like 6, 7 years ago, and it's hilarious. Oh, that movie was hilarious. I loved it. It was
There's
so
a
funny.
there's a lot of Travolta I've not seen. I mean,
That I would recommend that one just to laugh at. It is hilarious.
yeah. Somebody, Anthony in the chat mentions Secret Window. Johnny Depp. I
No.
actually, yeah, I thought Secret Window was okay actually. I think that was like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
That
and
was
Dan mentions Dead Man as
that
well.
was around the time period where my parents were just obsessed with, those kind of thrillers like that,
Yeah.
What Lies Beneath. They're like obsessed with those kind of movies around that time. I mean, that was around the time we actually watched The Ring, the American version of The Ring, and this is a shitty movie, but The Boogeyman too. We watched that
Oh
recently.
yeah. Yeah, the
That
Boogeyman. Yeah. Yeah, they
was a
made the
bad
sequel.
movie.
They made the sequel to that film as well.
Oh, they made like a ton of sequels to that shit.
Yeah.
Second
Dan
one had
mentions
old Jigsaw in there, Tobin
Tobin
Bell.
Bell. Yeah. Yeah. Dan mentions House of the Devil as well. I mean,
Yeah,
House of the Devil. I mean,
Tom
I
Noonan was
love
good in it.
I love
He's always good.
I love the opening like sort of like scene where she goes to apply for the job and then she walks back from the house and she puts the Walkman
What
on.
I liked about that film was it was. Did it take place in the 80s or 70s?
I think it's the very early 80s. I think it's meant to be like 82. Dan
Dan
will know.
knows. Dan will know.
I think it's meant to be about 82, 83.
It's
The
like
Walkman. I don't think the Walkman she uses was maybe available in the 70s. I took it to be about 82, but it looks the good thing the thing about House of the Devil, which I really like as well, because when we think about the 80s and especially when you watch,
that movie
not
feels more 70s than 80s to
it,
me.
it,
That's why I
it,
was
it
asking.
I think what it is though is I think and you make a
It's
good
got that
point.
80s kind of
It,
like
it,
hope or 70s
yeah,
kind of
color scheme.
darker. Yeah,
Yeah. It doesn't feel bright enough almost for the 80s.
yeah.
Yeah,
80s movies, even horror, were definitely a lot more.
yeah,
There was a
but
vibe, like there was a lot more of a fun vibe to them, like a
yeah,
lot more of a loose vibe. Whereas 70s horror was a much more
but
dark
but
and
I,
oppressive.
but I think that was more of a thing that came in maybe during like 84, 85. Think in the very early 80s, I think it was still that sort of color because I think there's kind of like this nostalgia for like the 80s, like in modern day. If you go on YouTube, I love like following like a lot of these like there's like a lot of new musical artists now who like riff on the 80s, like synthwave artists who
Hmm.
make music with like an 80s sort of
Yeah,
style.
there's a ton of
And
films coming out with
they
80s,
yeah, and they all but they all use that neon purple, blue, red, this that sort of Stranger
you
Things.
could blame what's his face, why am I blanking on his name right now? The director of Drive, Only God Forgives.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What Nicholas Winding Refn is it?
Yeah, he was the
Yeah,
one that really kind of
yeah.
ushered that in pretty heavily.
But I think if you actually think back to like the actual, I mean, early 80s, I think it wasn't
Honestly,
really.
80s movies really didn't use the neon like
Well,
that.
that's what I'm.
Like,
Yeah,
okay, like there
exactly.
was,
Yeah,
there was the cop films that did, but like the horror films, really didn't
yeah,
rely on this. They didn't honestly, they didn't really rely on synth that heavily, because you think of like, I mean, like you had your Halloweens and your Elm Streets definitely had synth in them, but Elm Street started leaning more towards rock
yeah,
with its scores, and then Friday the 13th had the more kind of like definitely inspired by Hitchcock, Bernard Herrmann with Harry Manfredini's scores were definitely more, in line with like a Psycho kind of vibe.
yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I think there's almost like this misconception now that like the '80s was this like neon soaked sort of synth heavy decade, and I think it's more like a lot of people's like people as people have got older, they've kind of like got this idea of the '80s as being this, and you
Well,
know,
it's funny. The '80s was Tarantino mentions this, but the '80s was more like the '50s because the directors who were in the '80s grew up in the '50s, and so they had
yeah,
that kind of like Dante. His films have a very '50s style to them,
yeah,
like Inner Space, very
yeah,
much,
yeah,
and
yeah.
even the Howling, Gremlins, and stuff like that. Way more '50s type than, and then of course you had Spielberg and guys like that who were like, like honestly, like even like Carpenter, because Carpenter kept his films had more of a low kind of low profile look to them, more organic look to them.
Dan's saying he thinks House Devil took place in '83. I think that does ring a bell. I think he's right there. Yeah, '83. I seem to remember the synopsis of the film saying '83. I mean, Dan's just mentioned that, so yeah. Um, but like I say, yeah, yeah,
Speaking of '80s vibe, I know everyone's gonna be like, I can't believe it, but I finally watched Good Time,
oh, Good Times,
and
fucking amazing film.
that film was hilarious. Oh, and I'm not saying hilarious in a facetious. No, I legitimately thought it was funny. Like
Are we talking
I
about the
like.
same Good Time?
What
Which
was
which
that?
which which Good Time are we talking
We're
about?
talking about the one from that with the Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah, it's fucking amazing. I love the film. I think it's
Yeah,
just so good,
yeah, it
so
is.
good. I fucking
Oh
love it.
man,
I think
that
it's amazing.
film's so
You know,
funny.
but the guy who's like the who's basically just the drug dealer who's just he's off his face and he falls out the cab
Yeah,
and
that
he's a,
character
he's
is
he's a gangster. He's a legit gangster. He's in jail now.
was hilarious.
Yeah, he got basically he won the film was after the
Tripping
film
on
was
it,
made.
and then the guy from Captain Phillips. I'm the captain now. He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
funny. That scene where
yeah.
oh man, I don't want to ruin for anybody, but that was legitimate. That was really entertaining. That was like I love that film. I can see
Oh,
why everyone likes it.
the soundtrack. The soundtrack is the
Oh,
soundtrack.
that's what I was gonna mention. It's ultra
It's one.
80s.
Well, if anybody likes the soundtrack, it's an artist called it's 106 Point Never.
Yeah,
Um, Daniel Loperton, that's his real name. He goes under the name 106 Point Never. If you like, and he kind of invented vaporwave. If anybody is into vaporwave music, which I am, which is kind of like it kind of skews like old '80s commercials with like mod. It's hard
kind
to
of
describe.
mall kind of
Yeah,
music,
yeah,
kind of
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
easy
Also,
listening.
yeah, he kind of invented that genre in like 2008, and people kind of took what he did and then went with it, and it's just kind of evolved into something completely different now. But
Yeah.
and I just he's a fucking genius. The film's fucking incredible. The Safdie brothers. I love Uncut Gems as well.
Hmm.
If anybody's not seen Uncut Gems is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Talk about talk about
I gotta get to that one too.
oh my god, stressful film to watch.
Yeah.
It's like
But
if you
good time. Like you could, I could see how people could view it as stressful because like there's a lot of things that fuck up that
yeah,
happen. But I just thought it was hilarious. I thought it was like
yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed it. Perfect. Going back to the '80s, it's definitely a spiritual, successor to Martin Scorsese's After Hours. You ever seen
Yeah,
that?
I've not actually. No.
Oh, watch After Hours. That movie is hilarious as well. Everybody comedic, like Cheech and Chong are in there.
Yeah,
Macaulay Culkin's parents from the Home Alone movies are in it. Uh, uh,
I'll make a note of that now.
see,
Put my watch list.
what was the one of she was in Men in Black. What the heck was her name? I'm blanking on her name, but yeah, people know it. She was in
Is that
there.
After Hours? So who's in After Hours?
Griffin Dunn, who was
Yeah,
in
I've got it. Yeah, Rosanna Arquette.
yeah, Roseanne Arquette.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that. I've not.
That that that's a fun film, and it goes by quickly too. It's a quick
Yeah,
in and out film. It is lightning fast. It's great. I love that film.
I mean, there's a chance I might have seen it, but
Well, if you
maybe
haven't, watch it again.
so long ago I probably don't even remember. But let's just
That's a movie from the '80s. More people need to see.
yeah,
Criterion was supposed to put a Blu-ray out of it, but they announced it like 10 years ago. It feels like now, but
right.
yeah, still stuck on DVD.
Let me just jump back into the chat briefly. The chat's been on fire tonight.
Yeah,
Um,
very active.
let's just see. Chris says, I vaguely remember Deadman. It played on IFC and the regiment I was in high school. Dan Sounds Devils. Orc says, Suck My Ninjas. What's up, Orc? Oh, yeah, House Devil is that Ty West. It is Ty West, Jamie, yeah. Um,
Yeah, and then
just
there's
I don't, is he talking about Ty West, Amy, the vampire movie? I'm not sure if he's talking about Ty West or not.
and then I saw speaking of Scorsese, I saw First Reform by Paul Schrader, which
I've not
is
seen.
it's essentially Taxi Driver but with a priest instead. Very much a similar, character who's it's kind of funny because I watched that right around the same time I saw I also watched Saint Maud, and both of them are about characters that use religion. They use religion to lean on, and I thought that was pretty fascinating. I thought both films I think were great character studies. Although Paul Schrader is retreading ground, retreading familiar waters, but
Yeah.
still a solid film. Ethan Hawke is in it. Cedric the Entertainer's in it as his real name, Cedric Kyle, and he's actually pretty good in it. And Amanda Seyfried is in it. I don't know what it is, but Amanda Seyfried, she like I know a lot of people probably think she's like ultra attractive, but she creeps me out. I'm sorry. I know that you're not supposed to be judging anybody, but man, she's oof.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's okay.
No, like she's not like horrifying. It's just like
Yeah.
she has like this intense she like she stares to your soul. It's kind of like from They Live, the actress in They Live. And that's how I feel like, it's like, oh God, my soul's been stared into. But anyways, yeah, that the Saint Maud. You didn't
Which
like
I
Saint Maud, did you?
I've not seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet. Okay.
No, not yet. No.
Yeah, that was
I need to see it.
that was a solid character study, very much in line with like Fight Club, Frailty, definitely in line with like
I like
Frailty,
that.
Fight,
I love Frailty. I love Frailty.
and Fight Club, and what was the other film? It was, but those it's very much like those two films. A character where everything you see is from her perspective. Like when you go and
Yeah.
watch it, like the film is all from her perspective. So whatever you see and don't see, it's pretty much what she's envisioning. So I thought it was fascinating character study, and the ending is quite interesting too.
Right. Don't spoil it.
Nope, won't get spoiled. It was all around solid effort. I quite enjoyed it. But then I did watch one film I did not like. I Well, yeah, I'm not going to mention that film. I want to get my thoughts better. But I also finally saw the film Good Night, Mommy. Another kind of
Is that a horror film?
yep, character story. It's same director. It's directing duo as The Lodge. But I thought this was. I love The Lodge, but I like this one even better. This was great.
Yeah,
I
The
love The
Lodge.
Lodge. I know
I
you're not, you
like.
weren't a fan of it, but
I like. No, I thought it was okay. I wasn't a massive fan. I just thought there was a few plot holes in terms of the way they. I was like, realistically, could this happen? So the way it was, the film played out, it was kind of like that's a little bit far fetched, but you know,
mm,
I didn't hate it. I was, it kept me entertained the whole time. But
yeah. You might have the similar problems with Goodnight Mommy. You might have similar problems, but I thought it was excellent. It's about these two twin brothers and their mother returns home and they live in this very kind of postmodern home, very, like extremely high end home out in the kind of middle of the nowhere,
yeah,
honestly. And these two brothers, they kind of do their own thing and their mother shows up and she's basically like she's not an actress, she's like a model, and she's had her surgery done on her face, and the two brothers suspect that it might not really be their mother because she's coming back with like bandages covering her whole face.
okay, yeah.
So there's a great. I thoroughly enjoyed that film. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would highly recommend anyone to check that out. And then I
Oh,
saw because I saw Green Room when it came out, and I loved it. But I took forever for me to see the director's previous film, Blue Ruin,
Blue Ruin's a great film. Yeah,
and
it was.
Blue Ruin's a great,
It's great. Yeah,
uh,
it's fucking great film.
depressing, vigilante film.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like that's like how Blue Ruin plays out is much closer to how the Death Wish novel. That's more in line with how that novel uh, is structured. Blue Ruin was great character study as
Yeah,
well. I
it's
thought it
just
was great, but it's extremely depressing though.
it's very. It's got that way of like you're constantly on edge throughout the entire film. It's
Yeah,
you,
you
you
never
you're
know
really
what's
can
gonna.
relax. Yeah, the headshots. The headshot that comes out of nowhere.
Oh
The,
yeah.
the, the gunshot to the head. It's like
Oh,
what the.
speaking of Home Alone, the Buzz, or was it like Buzz, the older brother, he's in Blue Ruin.
Okay.
He's the one that does that shot.
All right.
Yeah, he was pretty good in that too. But yeah, that actor, he was pretty solid.
I
And he was
always
good.
think.
He was good in Green Room. Green Room was great.
I think with the Blue Ruin if it came out in like 2013,
Hmm.
and I always think I looked because I saw that film like close to release. And I always kind of lump that film in with like It Follows and The Guest. They always kind of form this sort of like trilogy of films. I just think they just feel very similar to me. I don't know whether it's where the
Yeah,
set
like
or the
kind of a throwback. They have
yeah,
more of a
yeah,
throwback.
definitely. Yeah, they don't feel modern. They kind of
No, yeah,
feel
they don't play to modern
yeah, yeah,
audience's sensibility.
yeah. Certainly, It Follows with just the. I mean, I've not looked into It Follows. I've watched the film,
Hmm.
about I've watched it like 3 or 4 times. I've never like, I don't really want to like dive into like any sort of like director's cuts or director's commentaries. I mean, Dan
Hmm.
might know this. Dan might know this if he's looked into it more, but I don't really want. He can, if he wants to tell me, he can do. But I kind of like, I
You
don't
like
really.
it
I
being
like
less
the
explained, more
yeah, like why has she got like
ambiguity.
why are they watching 50s movies on like old TVs, but she's got like a sort of why she got like a sort of like like
Clam,
a clam phone
clam.
like that she's reading and then and why are the cars so like the car at the beginning is more modern, but then the cars they drive around later on are all seem old. It's like there's a theory that the girl at the beginning of the movie is from the future, and
Hmm.
then they jump back, it, but then yeah, there's no real sort of time frame for that film. I suppose that's a good way of not aging the movie
Hmm.
because with the way smartphones are now, you look at a film and you go, well, that film's from 2010 because they've got like an iPhone
Well,
5 or
did you see the director's follow up
um, I
under
don't
the
know.
Silver Lake?
No, I've not seen that.
Yeah, that's the other film I saw. I
Is
wasn't a
it?
huge fan of that one.
Okay.
I liked It Follows, but Under the Silver Lake, it was a little too hipster for me.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I mean, sometimes a director will come along and make an amazing film, and then they'll do very little else. I mean, like Donnie Darko, I think Richard Kelly. I
Hmm.
don't really know if he's done anything even close to that. I don't think he has, but
No,
Donnie Darko's one of my favorite films of all time. But
you didn't see The Box or Southland Tales?
oh yeah, I've seen the box. Yeah,
Ooh,
I've not seen Southland Tales.
oh, The Box was annoying. Oh, The
The
Box
box
was. Ugh. Oof. I was not a fan of that film.
is that the one where they can kill anyone?
They get to decide if they want to kill somebody to get $1 million.
Yeah.
Like it's either press the button when and you win $1 million, but someone dies. But of course, it's in a uh, Twilight Zone kind of way where a character actually it was part of a Twilight Zone episode, I believe, the original
Mm,
story, because it's based on a Richard Matheson story. But it's originally called Button Button. But
yeah.
yeah, The Box, I didn't care for it. It was weird. Cameron Diaz doing a Southern accent was just off. Like, what the? It's just really weird
Cameron Diaz.
having her do the Southern accent. I'm just like, and then what's his James Marsden also? It's just like, no, no, I'm
James
sorry.
James Marsden's British, isn't he?
Is
I
he?
think. Yeah, James Marsden's British.
Oh, okay.
I think I follow him on Twitter.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah, he used to be. I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, I'm sure I do. I think he was in Anaconda. You
James
know the
Marsden was
vet-
Anaconda? No, he wasn't.
Oh no, sorry,
He
I'm
he
thinking of
was he
somebody
was
else.
Cyclops.
Yeah, he was in. James Marsden was in Westworld.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
West,
in Westworld. Yeah.
right. So I'm gonna have to check this out. Who the hell am I following on Twitter? Who I think is James. It's somebody called James. It's an actor called James. He was not James Marsden.
Hmm.
I don't know who it is, but the person I'm following was in the very first Anaconda film. If you can remember that, like shit show.
That movie's hilarious, though.
Yeah, it is.
The
I mean, they got
John
John. Is
Voight
it
is
John Voight is
he's
not.
a delight in that film. His I don't even know what that accent is. It's just amazing. He's supposed I don't even know what that is, but it's just like so bizarre. He's doing oh oh yeah. I tell you about the river. The anaconda. The anaconda mana. It's like what? What was that, John? And then the whole him killing whatchamacallit with his legs, like he like jumps up and like strangles that girl with his legs. I'm like that was one of the funniest scenes but that was one of the funniest. The funniest is after he gets swallowed. I don't care, I'm spoiling this movie for everybody, but he gets swallowed by the
I don't think
anaconda.
it matters.
And he gets swallowed by the anaconda, and the anaconda goes and chases after J Lo, and it spits up John Voight in front of J Lo, and then John Voight's like like all like digested, like like he's like all digested looking. He's got a bunch of goo and stuff all over him, and it's like his eyes are all like puffy, and then like he opens up one of his eyes and winks at her.
I know that was so fucking.
It's so amazing. Like what oh, it was amazing. That had to been him. Improv. So you get legendary actor improv.
Okay, let's. I've got one more topic to cover,
All right.
and then we can just chat whatever then. So it was. I don't know if it was announced today. It was announced in the last few days. Lionsgate are looking to make a new Blair Witch movie.
Of course.
So
Cash cow right there, man.
they haven't given any sort of information as to what they do, but you know, so I'll put over to you and thoughts, and also what was your introduction to the Blair Witch movie? Did you watch it? Like,
Introduction, internet reviewers talking about it, recommending it. That's how I found. I didn't watch it when it first came out or anything like that.
so you missed the base. You missed the original.
Yeah, yeah, I missed the initial,
Yeah, yeah.
hype train of it.
Because that was the point I was. The point I was going to make.
And I've seen the sequel, the
Which
first, this
oh,
Book of Shadows, which is just like, oh, okay,
have you
that's
seen
that's
the Blair
that's where we're
Witch?
going.
Have you
What was
seen
that?
the Blair Witch? Have you seen the Blair Witch?
Yeah, I've seen the Brothers, and I've seen the first sequel. I haven't seen
Oh,
the new one.
the new. No, that's what I mean. The new one,
No,
the 2016.
I haven't did not I skipped that.
Oh, it's fucking terrible. It's really bad. And it was getting hyped to death before
That's
it
one of
came
those
out.
that director, like he did like The Guest, which got all this goodwill, and then he does a lot of movies that
It,
a lot of people, like critics and stuff, do not care for. It was funny because like The Guest was like a big critical darling, and then everything else he's done after that.
See, before Blair Witch, the Blair Witch 2016 version film came out, like it was getting hyped, and I think they were trying to keep it hidden. I think they were calling it The Woods.
Yeah.
They were trying to do like this sort of like 90s thing where they were trying to like build up an element of mystery to it, and it doesn't work in 2016, 2015. People, the internet is just going to find out everything.
Hmm.
So it all got in the end. It all got revealed. It's obviously it's a Blair Witch film,
Hmm.
but at the time, I think when before the film came out, like bloodydisgusting.com, they reviewed the film and they said it's one of the scariest films of all time. And from that
Okay.
point on, from that point on, I just lost any respect for that website because that I thought that website is definitely taking money off. You know,
Off the top.
yes, I thought there's no way, no one in their right mind could possibly consider that this film is not even a. It's not only not scary, it doesn't make any sense. It's badly acted, badly directed. It doesn't follow even from what I can remember. It doesn't even follow a. I can't even remember whether it follows the found footage like trope. I'm not even sure. I can't even remember whether it's just a
There's like
film.
I know there's like moments in it,
I can't
but from
honestly.
like
It doesn't. I don't remember. I barely remember a thing about the film.
what's
Uh,
fascinating going to the video game world like I do. They made a recent game where you're wandering around the woods with your dog, with your German Shepherd, and I was fascinated to find out that they actually made three previous games that played like classic survival horror, Resident Evil, like old Resident Evil, like the
yeah,
tanks, tank controls. I was like, oh wow, like they take place in like the 1800, the 17, 1800s. I'm like, oh, that's kind of fascinating. They look terrible though. They
well, to be
definitely do
fair,
not hold up.
I mean, if you want to make a game,
They were definitely cheapies.
if you do want to make a game scary, then if you use the tank controls from Resident Evil, that makes it all the more scary because when you're trying to like escape a zombie and you can barely move your character around, that was the most terrifying thing about Resident Evil is just trying to control your character is so. But
All right,
I think
now we lost all the viewers.
I was actually one
Not
of the
even
points.
the political talk didn't get them to go away, but the video game talk, that'll get them.
I thought Blair Witch would send the viewers skyrocketing, but I think the point it was going to make, one of the final points about Blair Witch Project is, obviously, the whole marketing campaign in the late 90s, the use of the
Mhm.
internet in its
Yeah,
sort of
that was
early
like that
forms.
was the last period that was the last time period where you can actually get away with something like that.
Well, you've literally just took the words right out of my mouth because I was literally going to ask the question. could you replicate that sort of marketing
No, you
today?
can't,
And
because
you
people
can't.
are
People
people
are
are way
too,
they're too self-aware now.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's just,
we're in a much more connected world where people can discuss this stuff, like, real easily. Whereas back then you had, like, really crappy, AOL chats.
yeah. I mean, 99 was probably just the right time. It was a time when enough people were on the internet, but not too many people were on the internet. So there was the people who were online were kind of like people who were clued in, but
Mhm.
could spread the word. But normies, like at that time would have been me, because I certainly wasn't online in 99, 98.
Yeah.
Would have just fell for it big time, they probably clued in people who were like were knew what was going on.
Mhm.
They wouldn't have needed to spill the beans. They probably would have been laughing at people like me who just like fell for the whole thing. But even when I went to see the film, there were still people in. By the time I saw the film in the cinema, I knew that it was fake. But even when I went to the cinema, there were still people who weren't entirely sure. But I mean, that's how crazy it was. Like, because as if a major cinema is going to show the deaths of, three people. It's like, it's just like,
Yeah, gotta get that easy marketing you can get back then. Can't
yeah,
do that nowadays.
no. But I
Well,
mean, I,
well too connected.
I mean, I respect Blair Witch Project. I do like the film, but it's the sort of film I couldn't watch. You couldn't watch it on a repeat basis. Like you'd have to be in a certain mood to watch that film.
Yeah,
Like a certain setting.
it's not like a, slasher where you can pop it
Yeah,
on any day.
anytime of
It's
that. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's a film that requires your attention, and, like, you can't just kinda half watch it.
yeah, definitely. But
Although the whole mystery is, I feel like a lot people, like, even younger than me, like, probably don't even give a shit about Blair Witch. I can't really foresee too many younger people really, kinda getting back at, whereas I feel like, a lot more young people could get into, like, the, like, I don't know, maybe because there's a lot of people who like that Slender Man shit, that kind of folk kind of, horror that kinda builds up. But when it's kinda ruined like that, it kinda, like, deflates the room and everyone's just like, "Oh, well, that's fake." They just kinda go in with a, you know, quick judgment of it.
yeah. Honestly, one of the best things about the original Blair Witch film, there's a scene which you can't like. It's not scripted. It's literally like there's like it's at the beginning when they're in Burkittsville and it's like chatting to the locals, talking about the legend of the Blair Witch, and there's like a young mother, and she's got like a young kid on like I think she's like either she's carrying the young kid or the young kid stood next to her, and they're asking about about the Blair Witch, and the kid's getting a bit freaked out, and the kid's saying it's not real, it's not real, and she goes no, it's not real, honey, and then she turns to the camera and goes, it is real, and like that kid clearly wasn't told to say that line. It's like the kid is just getting a bit freaked out by some talk about a witch, and he's like, it's not real.
Yeah,
It just looks like the kid genuinely doesn't know what's going on. He thinks it's a real film crew,
and then we
and he's
get
getting
kind of the reenactment of that scene with the Pancakes kid
yeah,
in Eli Ross film.
yeah,
Who the fuck cares if it's real? I want pancakes. That's American. That's a real American.
oh,
Oh,
I,
Jesus.
I think I'm going to wrap things up now anyway because
It's getting
two
late.
o'clock. It's
Uh,
2 o'clock in the morning in the
oh,
UK. 2 a.m.
well, that's when that's nice young still, man.
Uh, not when you've got to not when you got to get up. Well, I don't actually get to get up for work tomorrow, but I do have to get up early to take my wife to work. So
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
gonna have like 5 hours sleep. So
Oh, man.
I will stream. Are you going to jump on Piz's Patreon stream next week?
No, probably not.
Because I'm probably going to do because he's streaming next Tuesday at 1 a.m., like 8 p.m. your time.
Oh yeah.
So I'm probably going to jump on, do it like a sort of 45-minute stream, and then jump off that, and then jump on Piz's stream.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna stream?
Yeah, probably, but only for like 45 minutes maybe, and then just jump off, and then jump on Piz's stream. So yeah, because I thought there's no point streaming, but he doesn't stream till 1 a.m. my time, so I thought, well,
Really?
12 a.m. I'm just going to be sat around doing nothing, so I might as well just jump on and do a bit of a stream anyway.
Yeah, might as well.
And get the crowd in before jumping on.
Get them riled up.
Get those numbers in. Anyway,
get them subs going.
Yeah, get those subs going. I need to get my subs up.
Come on, people, subscribe if you haven't.
I think everyone subscribe. If you know, please, everyone in the chat, leave a like,
just unsubscribe and resubscribe it, just to make me feel better.
It make you feel better. And please leave a thumbs up on the stream as well. That makes all
helps. Everything helps.
So
interactions.
Thumbs up.
That's what YouTube's all about now, is the interactions. Apparently,
I'm not going to be hitting any algorithms, that's for sure. So
don't downplay it.
I'm just being honest. Anyway,
all right.
I'm happy to say that it'll take me too long to go through all people who was in the chat tonight, which is a good thing to say. You know.
Yep. Thank you, everyone who stopped by the chat, was chatting. We appreciate you.
Been a very lively chat, and big thank you to Griff as well. Thank you, man.
No problem. Yeah. We hit the whole full spectrum. We had political, we had video games, we had horror stuff. You know, we hit it all, man.
We certainly did.
We even hit porn earlier on. So it was the full circle of life over here. That's what you get when you follow and subscribe to Mike's channel. Do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will see you guys next week. Griff, I will see you later, man. Thank you for jumping on.
All right, you take it easy.
Good night. Bye, everyone. See you later.